long is that gonna take to get better?
This is better.
Oh, yeah.
I'm joking.
Well, that's a good point. That's nice. That's the way to look at it.
But you know what? I'm hoping by the end of this month I'll take the brace off. We'll see.
You spoke, yes. I was just about to say it. When I saw your picture, I said the guy looks familiar. Thank you for joining us.
Listen, you guys are my members. You know, I love you guys. I'm a big fan of you. Slow and steady.
Yeah.
I ruptured my patellar tendon and just completely tore the ligament off my bone. It takes about 6 months to recover. I'm 2.5. So, how about yourself? I saw you had to lift as well.
Just old age, I think.
I hope you can see if you're home.
You don't need this, huh?
No, I don't, I got theirs too.
Good morning, everyone. It's I think we're running about 5 minutes. They've made the announcement at the workshop that the breakout rooms are available. So what we're going to do, we're going to start shortly, in about a minute or two, and we'll wait as people come in so then they can get going also with us. So good morning, everyone. We'll start in about a minute. Just wait for some last minute attendees. Come on in. There's enough seats up here up front. Okay, we will start. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate the time and the excitement from this morning's plenary. For today, I will be your MC, and I am, there you go, Joseph. I just want to make a disclaimer. No need to adjust your screen. It's not a typo. My first and last is the same. Now, here's some fun fact. Don't ask me which is my first and last. I'm going to leave that up to you guys, okay? And it's funny because every time it's, so I just wanted to put that out. But Joseph, COFAC, Coalition of Filipino American Chamber of Commerce, Governing Board, and Vice President for Member Relation, past President of the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Orange County. So thank you, everyone. And today, our topic will be welcome to the workshop, Smarter, Learner, and Safer, how AI is transforming small and medium-sized businesses. Just some few time ago when AI came out, there was a lot of excitement, there was a lot of confusion, and now AI has pretty much advanced forward and being used in our small and medium-sized businesses. explore, learn practical AI applications for small business owners, discover automation, tools that cut costs and boost productivity, and most of all, strengthen your cybersecurity posture. So with that being said, I would want to introduce our moderator. Just to give you a background on Roger Lloyd, not only is he a dear friend of mine and a strategic partner of our chamber, our organization, area of expertise. Roger has led several startups to over 200 million in revenue in both retail and artificial intelligence. He has over 15 years of experience in the franchise industry, where he led one of the fastest growing franchises in the country. AI, he has led 100 AI workshops, which we were part of, consulted on AI literacy and with over 50 companies, and was co-founder in GA, a large language model that was being built in 2016. His passion and goal in life is to ensure everyone in the USA is AI literate and effective. What a perfect spot for Roger to join us today. Director, OCIE, SBDC Marketing Center, our moderator, Roger Lloyd. There you go, sir.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Joseph. Come here, brother. All right, so we got a small, engaging crowd. You guys ready? Can you guys hear me with the mic?
Yes.
Awesome, you guys. All right, so I'd love to introduce my fellow panelists that are going to be hopping on here pretty quickly. So first, I'm going to start with, and I'm, just so you guys know, I'm Canadian. Canadians can't pronounce. So, you can't hear me out there? All right, cool, then I'll do it. Test. Better? Lois, is that okay? All right, cool. So as a Canadian, we cannot pronounce. At least I can't. So I'm gonna screw up some names, so you guys have to give me a little leeway. But first, I'd actually like to introduce a dear friend of the SBDC, somebody we've been working on for years. What, since 2020, right? Roberto, who is the CEO of his consulting company. And Roberto actually has some interesting facts here. Number one, he was named by the mayor of LA as the city's EIR, if anybody knows what that stands for, Entrepreneur Residence. When was that? In 2020, by the city of LA. He has a company he's been working on. He has, as a CEO, it's called Braven Agency, that we partner with many times over. He's one of the leads for Google across the country, and I'm super happy to have him as a panelist coming here to talk about AI. Come on up, bro. Hint on the, there we go. And there's Jerry. Cool. Chill, say a few words real quick. Throw some words to the audience.
Hey, morning. How's everyone doing today?
I come from a small town in South India.
It's so quiet. Oh, what? No. Very happy to be here with y'all. Very excited to talk to you guys. I'm going to be a little bit more tactical in what I communicate to you, because I want you guys to walk away with clear, tangible action items after this session. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much, Lois, the Chamber, the Philippine American Chamber, and everyone for actually making the time to be here and work with us to help y'all understand how to leverage the heck out of AI to grow and scale. As Roger was mentioning, I am what's called the Google Coach for the state of California. I cover the state. I also travel across the country to provide trainings around AI to help small businesses learn how to use AI to grow and scale their businesses. I also work with Tech Talk, with Amazon, with Meta. So happy to chat a little bit about that. Turn it over to you, Roger.
Awesome. Thank you, Roberto. Cool. And before we start, we have a nice video to show real quickly.
Let's go back.
There we go.
This one?
I come from
That's
a
the
small
one.
town in South India, where narrow lanes, bicycles, and shared spaces were a part of daily life. We lived in a single room. That's where everything happened. Meals, sleep, laughter, and sometimes silence. It wasn't easy, but it was real. My father would cycle 15 kilometers every day to provide for us. He gave most of his earnings away to support my brother's treatment to help others, never once expecting anything back. That's where I first learned what it means to live with intent. And my mother, she didn't need wings. She was the storm's stillness, quiet, relentless, enduring. When a rule said I couldn't attend school because I was the third child, she said no. Every single day, for a year, she stood outside the headmaster's office, waiting, not protesting. She didn't fight the system. She outlasted it. And when we couldn't afford the 30 rupee tuition, she took off her silver toe ring, her wedding symbol, and pawned it for my future. That's how I first came to know how life works. Not from books, from her will, from his hands. That was my first exposure to logistics, the science and systems of movement. Years later, I landed in the US with a backpack and about $50 in my pocket. I didn't have a plan B, just a quiet promise to myself that I'd figure it out. Georgia Tech was where I hoped to study. I still remember waiting outside a professor's office, pretending I had an appointment, because I couldn't afford tuition, and I needed someone to believe in me. He did, and that changed everything. For a while, life was just motion. I worked 5 jobs, cleaned, delivered, coded, sometimes all in the same day. I shared what I earned with my family back home. I slept in my car for a couple of weeks once. Not because I gave up, but because I couldn't afford rent yet. Still, I never saw that as failure. I saw it as part of the climb. My break came at Coca-Cola. I pitched myself with a multimedia resume, and they let me in. From there, I led delivery transformation efforts. Later at PepsiCo, I helped reimagine the distribution infrastructure. It wasn't just about logistics. It was about building systems that could flex, grow, and last. At Walmart, I pushed for a concept that felt too early at the time: crowdsourced delivery. People thought it was crazy, until it wasn't. Somewhere along the way, I started collecting titles, awards, and recognition. But I realized I was chasing validation more than vision. Then in 2020, I held my newborn son for the first time, and he looked exactly like my father. Same calm, same soul. In that moment, I made a new promise: not to leave behind one angel, but a million. People who rise when systems fail. People who improvise, adapt, and care. That promise became Orchestro.ai, an attempt to redesign the world's supply chain using systems that don't just think, but feel. This was birth of angelic intelligence. It's not just an AI stack, it's a consciousness stack. A moral operating system, AI built on my mother's code, powered by my father's hands. For me, it's not about the money or the speed. It's about intent. I started with a single room and a family that showed me how to care. I arrived with nothing but a reason. And that reason, paired with hard work and belief, carried me here. I'm not done, because I made a promise, and I intend to keep it.
That was awesome. All right, and with that amazing video and that success story, I'd like to introduce our first panelist, Shekhar Natarajan. Shekhar, as he made sure that I recognized, and here's a couple interesting facts as he comes up. Number one, he has introduced XYZ number of patents. Who wants to guess what the number is? How many patents? Somebody throw out a number. I promise you're not going to be wrong. There's no right or wrong. You're just a guess. 100. Okay, so it's a little optimistic. Let's try again. Before he says a word. How many? I got you, actually. It was 150. It's not up. Actually, it's even more than 100. 150 patents. Worked with Pepsi, Walmart, and all these other areas. A true believer in AI, really optimized supply chain optimization. Around my panel, just say a few words. Shekhar.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me here. It's a true honor. I don't have many words to say, but I'm going to take all the questions from you because I know you're notorious for that. And we're going to have some fun here. But, like AI has been the topic of discussion. And the world has actually, if you take a survey today, 52% of people who are surveyed are scared of AI. 40% are ambivalent of AI. They don't even have an opinion about it. And 8% are really excited about it. So there's a lot of fear and anxiety about it. And I would love to come here to give you a positive message about AI. Because AI can not only be a source of destruction if you train it that way it is, but if you train it in the rightful way, it can be more humanic as well. That's what we're trying to do. Okay?
Awesome. All right, Roberto, come on up. Let's sit down, hang out, chill a little bit. Yeah. And are you guys ready for some questions? So here's a story. Yeah, we'd love to have you go through your deck. You ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
This is okay. All right.
Ready to rock and roll?
All right. We're almost at the question part. Okay, here we go.
There he is.
All right, so what I'm really going to focus on is AI and e-commerce, hopefully. How many e-commerce owners or services? E-commerce? Philippines, even better. I have a team in the Philippines as well. Nearshoring, offshoring. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to actually leverage some of these AI tools.
Welcome to the International Asian American Business Expo and to our AI session.
So you guys know how I use that tool, which tool I used to create this video? What do you guys think? It's a free tool that you all can use the moment you walk away. It's called VO3. Have you guys heard of it? It's a Google tool that allows you to create videos of whatever you want. So I literally just uploaded my image and then I told it to speak for me. And it could do whatever you wish to do. If you guys have any questions about my email marketing, what I'm presenting today, the deck, if you guys want it, feel free to shoot me an email. I've been with Google for the past 9 years now. I just recently started working with TikTok to create programming to help entrepreneurs like yourselves grow and scale using TikTok SOAR, which is really focused on helping y'all understand how to leverage user-generated content and grow and scale. We also work with Black Business Accelerator, the BBA program for Amazon. Again, if you have products that you want to sell, how do you go about leveraging the mammoth that is Amazon to grow and scale your company? And then the agency as well. Really what we do with the agency is help create amazing programs like these that help you guys understand how to leverage technology to grow and scale your company. And as a result of that, we started working with AI. And this is back in 2022, 2023, not as far back as Roger, but we really want to understand what is your guys' pain point and how do we leverage that pain point. So what I'm going to talk about is how to grow and scale your online sales. That's really what we're really talking about today, and how do we go about doing that. So we're trying to start, improve, or scale. So for some of us, we're just getting started. We want to get started, we want to get out there. For some other one of us, we already in the market, we want to know how to improve our products once we're in the market. And then lastly, if we're in the market and we're trying to scale, like how do we go and sell $1 million a month? And so I'm going to provide you some high-level tools to walk away from this session to start implementing. Most of us already use AI, so I don't have to talk too much about that. But I want you to give you some strategies. I want to give you some frameworks. Really, I want to give you the toolbox you're going to use AI. And then we're going to do that by creating a checklist. Now, this particular presentation is, an hour and a half, but we have 10 minutes to walk you through it. So let me walk you through with this one question when it comes to AI. Which one of these do you think is AI generated? Both. Anyone else? A, B, or C? How many think A? A is generated. How many think B, that's AI generated? How many think C? Okay. I didn't get that. Look at that. They're always listening. They're always listening. It's actually A. A is the real one. B and C are AI generated. So what does that tell you? that we can create amazing, authentic content that looks like us, that talks like us, without having to spend money. It took us less than a minute to create these 3 images. One we paid Adobe to download and it cost us money. The other 2 were free. So what does this mean for you as a small business owner? You can start leveraging some of these tools that I want to present to you today to create content. But what I really want you to walk away with is how to efficiently and effectively use the AI tools to create the kind of assets that you want. Because really there's 5 assets that AI right now is really useful for. First is creating images. The next is text, anything that you write. Third is video, which you just saw a little bit earlier. You saw me talking, and it wasn't me, but it was an AI-generated voiceover. Fourth is code, and 5th is audio. So those are the 5 things you can start creating today using whatever AI tool you want, ChatGPT, Gemini, whichever one you like. And so the first thing I want to give you is a framework on how to be a prompt engineer. Have you guys heard of that term, prompt engineer? You know, it's a fancy way of saying, how do I talk to this AI tool? Now, I'm not going to talk about what machine learning is, language models, large language models, generative AI, but what I will tell you is we have to know how to communicate with this specific AI generated tools, and if we know how to do that, then we can use it to create amazing content, marketing, operations, financial reviews of our businesses. So here's the framework. This framework's a little bit dated. This framework was released by Google last year, in April of last year, which is when we talk to any generative AI, we want to ask it, like, who are you? What's the persona? What do we want you to be? We want you to be a financial advisor. We want you to be a dietitian. We want you to be a marketing manager. We want you to be a graphic designer. Whatever you need it to be, that's the first thing we're going to tell it. Second is the task. What do we want it to do? What is the action? We want to run paid ads. We want to create SEO. We want to create images, whatever that task is. And remember, those tasks break down into 5 categories: audio, video, code, imaging, and copy. So just remember, like anytime you talk to any generative AI tool, right now that's their real strength. And then the format, how would this be presented to me? How will we use this to actually execute on it? Since then, Google has updated this, and now they added reference. You guys know what that means? Why would we want a reference? In essence, you want to educate, you know, have you guys seen the movie How to Train Your Dragon? Right, anyone? Anyone have kids? How to Train Your Dragon? So this coming of age story. In essence, we have to train the AI tool, and we do that by giving it references. And references can be a PDF, can be an image, can be a document, can be your financial sheet, can be a video that you have. We can upload Shekhar's video that he just created, and if I was never meeting him, but I wanted to create a real authentic experience with Shekhar, what would I do? I'll download his video, upload it to any one of the generative AI tools, and ask it, synthesize this video for me, tell me the 3 takeaways when I meet Shekhar I should bring up. So when I meet him, I can have a very personal experience with him. And they could do that very quickly, very efficiently. But from our standpoint, we can use it to do a slew of marketing solutions. So if you want to create an email marketing campaign, what will you do? You upload your past email marketing campaigns. You say, this is the way I talk. This is the way I write. This is my tone for my business. I want you to write me 5 different emails for the month of August, for the month of September. Obviously, there's something called the human in the loop. That's us making sure that when it provides us the response to our request, we know exactly how we want it framed, how we want to format it, and then we iterate. Same thing for AI tools. It's Gemini and ChatGPT are generative AI tools. That just means they're multimodal systems of learning. And so they could create those 5 tools. So you could create videos, you could create images, and when you're writing that prompt, you could ask it to create the prompt and the image according to your brand style. So what do I mean by that? Well, different prompts provide you different responses. You have to have that human in the loop. So as you're talking to your Dragon, to your AI tool, you're really helping it better understand through copy. And just to point of reference, the way the AI tool learned is through machine learning. And all that means is an engineer fed it a ton of data through text, like a PDF or a social media post, and it reviewed that data, and then it used mathematics and statistics to have predictive analytics capabilities where it started predicting what's the next word in this sentence. That's one example, but the more data you give it, the more data in the form of text, the more it learns. So you could train your Dragon, your AI tool, by using some of the features like folders for Gemini or gems folders for Gemini, for ChatGPT or gems, and you could keep it within. It's not an AI agent, but that's one of the futures of our society, using and leveraging AI agents. For now, we're just training the dragon, and depending on which AI tool you use, these are all third-party AI. Some of them have been around forever, like Adobe, right? They've been around for ages, and they have AI running on them, and you can, depending on the type of style that you want, leverage different ones, and you kind of see the different formatting based on the same prompt. So we created this video. We asked our marketing intern, college student, to, hey, we want to sell this particular candle. Write the prompt based on what we trained you on, right? So she wrote the prompt, and I think you could play that video. Let's see if it plays. Oh, it didn't play. So that took us 15 seconds to create. Now create a video based on our prompt that we can use to sell our product, right? So now we don't have to pay for a photographer, a videographer, pre-production, production, post-production. We can leverage the heck out of it in video to create these type of videos for us. We can even upload existing images and videos that we have to create this. Same thing with in-video reels. If you have social media, if you love social media, you can create this particular reel. We used the prompt of a nail salon. So we told it exactly what we wanted within that video. The AI took that information. Remember, we communicate with AI through text, and then it created this video. Obviously, we can't click on it and it won't play right now, but it created a 15-second reel for that video to promote our business. Again, I don't have to pay for a videographer, a social media manager. I could just use InVideo to create it. Most of us use Canva. Canva already has AI running on top of it as well, and it provides different templates, and it automates that process very quickly and very efficiently. And then the last piece, most of us go after RFPs, RFQs. I think Roger was talking about it a little bit earlier. You can upload your RFP, RFQ to Canva, to ChatGPT or Gemini, and ask it to synthesize the RFP, RFQ. If you had a folder and you trained it already about your business, it could say, you do qualify for this RFP, you do not qualify for this RFP. As a matter of fact, Gemini, how many of us have Workspace, Google Workspace? A few of us? We can connect Gemini to our Workspace, and now it could read your drive. It could scan into your drive and all the data that you have, all the documents you have, and say, based on your Google Drive, you're a great person for this RFP, RFQ. And so there's other tools like StoryDoc. Literally, I don't know if they will allow us to play, but it could create a proposal for you in less than 5 minutes. It could actually do a PDF proposal, or it could do a landing page proposal. So let's say you're pitching a new client, you want to make sure you get that sell, and you want to wow them. You use this particular tool, it'll use your proposal that you created in PDF format, and they'll create a landing page and a PDF, so that when you're sending that proposal over to a prospective client, you have the landing page. Why is the landing page so important as a marketer? Because you can see how many times they opened it. You can see where they focused on. You see where they clicked, like a heat map in essence. So it creates more information for you to realize, hey, where did I hit the mark? Where didn't I hit the mark? There's obviously costs associated to this, but this kind of gives you an idea of what the average cost is if you want to use these type of tools. And then the last tool I'm going to talk about is the Notebook LM. How many have heard of this tool? Yeah, I absolutely love this tool. It's a closed system, which means ChatGPT, Gemini are scraping the internet and providing you results and responses. This is your own personal closed system database where you upload the information that you want, and it synthesizes that information and gives it to you in a way that you can manage. You could ask it questions. You could ask it to do a deeper dive on that report. And I just did a quick, and I don't know if we obviously can't click on it, but I just did a quick, I pulled a report online about the Asian American community and the business community and the takeaways. It was able to synthesize that information very quickly, and provide me with, if I was able to click on that little thing right there in the bottom left, it literally provides me an audio file that walks me through in 10 or 15 minutes what that report is. So as you're driving home to work or you're driving from work, you can actually get that report. You could ask it questions. This is also great for RFPs, RFQs. You could upload it and ask it questions to see if you qualify and what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. So there's a lot of different tools that you can use right now, as long as we know how to write the prompts properly. And with that, if you guys want we provide a lot of free services within our agency. We work with Wells Fargo Foundation, with Google, with Meta. And so if you guys want some free tools, feel free to scan that, and then we'll send it over for you at no charge. And thank you. All right, Raj.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Roberto, hang out here for a bit. Shekhar, come on up. Thanks, you guys. That was awesome. Amazing video. Great story. And then, Roberto, thank you for some of the updates in regards to the things that are happening. I love Notebook LM, by the way. So who said they worked with Notebook LM? I saw one person. Okay. You guys all got to go play with it when you have a chance. All right. So having said that, let's start the questions and answers on this. Ready to rock and roll. Okay. So having said that, I've got one of the things that Shekhar, you've talked about the humanization.
Yeah.
The humanization of AI.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw a curveball at you, and I want your feedback on this. So I've got a stat here that says that right now, okay, XYZ percentage of teens use AI chatbots for emotional support. What do you think that percentage is, you guys? 70% of students right now use chatbots for emotional support. So from a humanization standpoint, what are your thoughts? What's the implications of that?
Yeah, so, I think it's a great question. And for me, I've worked for a lot of companies, like whether it's Coke, it's Pepsi, it's Walt Disney Company, Walmart. Like Walmart is the biggest employer here in the United States, besides government. And when you work with so many people, literally like 6 million people maybe, you begin to understand that systems don't really run what we see today. It's humans who actually hold it together. And AI, and AI has been around since 1956, by the way. That was when, AI was really, it came into someone's thought. And so a lot of people tend to train the models to basically subsume the human activities and make them create efficiencies. And that's what you keep hearing a lot of people talk about. But what we are trying to do is a different aspect. And let me give you a couple of examples of how we're thinking about it. Let's imagine, and we are in supply chain, obviously deliveries coming to the door and all those things are super important for us. So let's say a dispatcher dispatched a truck, and there are 10 stops on the truck, and the guy is supposed to go deliver for 9 hours, and he gets to 8:30 in the night, and 9 o'clock is the time when he needs to get back to the depot, and he's not done the last stop. AI would say, please come back to the depot, but he does not know there's medicines for a grandma which needs to be delivered. AI would say, come back, and if you train the system to say, forget it, go make a delivery, and I will actually promote you for your goodness that you did that. That would be an interesting application of AI. Right? And so that's how we should think about it. That's humanizing AI, because, and why do you want to use, you saw my background. This country is amazing. This country has been super good to me. I came here with $34 in my pocket. And we try to keep preaching about how AI can basically make life simpler. For who? For companies? And do what? Create more inequality? So the mindset has to be more about how do you look for these kinds of opportunities to amplify human capacity. And there are a lot of those things, Roger has been talking about, medical help, empathizing, right? And having compassion. Healthcare system needs that, by the way. So there are so many applications where you could amplify and make a difference in people's life. And that's where AI should really shine and should be trained. But unfortunately, it is getting trained for a sort of a very perversive kind of way of thinking about it. Like, let's find more efficiency. Let's cut cost. You know, so I have a very strong opinion about it.
That was cool. So it really, thank you. So really walking away, it's that just taking away from that before the next question is really it's the training of the actual models itself that's human biased, and not leveraging it in the actual humanization of it. And that's something that we could all take away from as we look at the high levels. Thank you, Shekhar. That was cool. That was a great overall how humanization is. Roberto.
Yeah, so I somewhat differ in the position, not by a lot here, because this is happening. It's been happening, and so where I see it is, how would my mom, my dad, my uncles who are entrepreneurs leverage this tool? How will y'all leverage these type of tools? Because multi-million-dollar, multinational corporations are leveraging these tools. If we don't adapt and adopt these tools and learn how to use them, then we can't implement what my colleague here to the right is talking about. I want to empower y'all to know how to use the tools, and then leave it up to your own goodwill, your North Star, to know how to implement the tool, to know how to drive value to your community. I will not I'm part of an organization that lobbies, for lack of a better word, but my whole premise is I give you the tools. I'll help you learn how to use and leverage the tools. And if you're able to scale and grow, then it's up to your own goodwill to know how you're going to impact that community, how you're going to help that brother and sister, how you're going to help out that neighbor. I cannot legislate or advise on putting guardrails. Completely right. The system learns with a bias depending on who created the system. But I'm just showed you right now that you can leverage the system, you can educate the system, you can learn how to train that particular system according to your business needs. And yes, I would love for my mom to have this system so she had more time to spend with me. You know, could you imagine that? Could you imagine working 12, 14, 15 hours?
That was sweet, by the way.
Well, it's the truth. Yeah, I mean, we all sacrifice for our community. We all sacrifice for our families, and that means we're away from our families. If I could create more productivity and efficiency that leverages 2 to 4, 6 hours of your day to spend with your loved ones, then I am going to do that for y'all. That's my position.
It works for entrepreneurship. Doesn't work for like people who are working. Right? It works for entrepreneurs. Like entrepreneurs can actually make their lives easier for themselves. Great. But if I'm making $15 working in a warehouse, my job goes away. What do?
Yeah.
I love that statement because it is empowering to decide. And I think this question is more of a, what economic system do we want to invest in? And so for me, this is late stage capitalism that we're talking about, we're dancing around. And I would love to take on that. I don't know how to say that dragon, but I would love to, if you guys are interested, have a conversation outside of this AI tool. For now, I just know the train is moving. We got to get on. We got to make sure we don't left behind. Technology leaves our communities behind. We know this. We know this. We've experienced this generationally, countrywide, right? I don't want this digital divide to keep growing. That's my whole premise.
And that's a good spot. And you know what? We're going to go to a question on church. I know we're running out of time, but I think you guys both just hit something, and you just hit something really important, and that is, you know, years ago people said the AI world may, kind of minimize the digital divide, and actually it's actually creating a bigger digital divide, and it's happening faster. And if you hear angst in everybody's voices, which I love, you hear we got to get in the community, so we got to humanize. We're not talking about the technical side. We don't care about that. We're talking about the other side. You hear the angst? It's the speed of the rapid speed of change. We got to get to the communities. We got to get to the countries. We got to get to the populations that don't have that. $20 a month for ChatGPT is a lot of money, and it can separate. That's what we're talking about. So I have one more question for you guys, and we'll start, Roberto, with you, and that is, let's start with the simple one, which is, where do we start? If I'm a small business, what would you say is the first thing that you would recommend? And I'm already like a level 2. I already know how to use AI effectively in prompting. However, I haven't used it for productivity gains. If you know, there's a little bit of a difference there. What would you tell somebody?
No, it's very black and white to me. This is not a magic bullet. It's what is the pain point? What am I trying to fix here? Understanding your problem statement, understanding whatever it is that you're trying to leverage, that's where I would start. Okay, well, let me list my top 5 challenges right now in my business and identify them, clearly understand them, and then I could start using the tool for the solution. So it's really getting like granular on what is the problem, because a lot of entrepreneurs, I've seen this happen time and again, is they'll spend a couple $1,000s for the yearly subscription model for this particular AI tool and that particular AI tool. And when I talk to them, it's like, well, how are you using it? They're like, well, I just thought it would work. Like, go. Like, hey, I paid for it. And so it's not necessarily, it's how we use these tools, how we leverage them. And so understanding your pain point, and maybe the first step is doing an assessment, being realistic with yourself and asking that AI tool, here's where I'm at as a business owner as of August of 2025. Here's my 5, 10 biggest pain points. This is my number 1 pain point. I need to address this immediately. How would you create a roadmap to execute on this? And then see what happens. Yeah.
Cool. Shekhar.
I agree with my friend here, but I also, let's think about like a scenario. I'm a small business and I am the sole person running it. What efficiency do I gain? Eliminate my own job? Not necessarily, right? So the reason why I bring that up is like there's a lot of activity that goes that actually like an entrepreneur is not able to focus their attention on. Like let's take like, like a postal annex store. In a postal annex store, or basically like, something like a package hub store.
UPS store.
Like a UPS store. What people, like, when you're shipping, people don't understand how much they are really incurring when they're actually shipping a product. Or they don't know how to document the right kind of things, that way it can reach like Spain without a problem. So those are like very obvious applications where you can extract money out of the system, not from within. You cannot dig your own like money out. If I have 2 people, imagine a scenario. I have 2 people working in a store. I need the other person working in the store when I'm off. Right? So we are always going to have people in the process. What we have to look for is the augmentative capabilities. Where can I have efficiencies? And I think like the other thing that we need to, like, you work for Google, right? You were with Google. So I know a company, and I think like many of you can relate to it. Let's take Unique Vintage as like one of the companies that we do business with. They were a $40 million business. $40 million business, Katie, here in Burbank. Okay? And she started in 2000. She learned everything by herself. She became a $40 million business. Google comes along in 2021 and says, I'm going to screw your SEO cost. I'm going to charge you more. Guess what happened to her? Her business went to $20 million. And she makes like negative margins year over year. Negative margins. So I think as we proliferate like the usage of the bigger players, I think we're going to run into the same problem. Like, yeah, you can actually do something for $20, but like, it'll actually escalate to $1,000. And so you're going to run into the same sort of issue. So I think as we think about the work streams, we need to be very cognizant about where you can drive efficiency or where you can drive basically growth of the business, and you have to focus on that.
Perfect answer on the segue. Great example, the UPS store, and those are real life examples. I'm glad you brought up, you guys. All right, so we do have a question from Gus.
Yeah, thank you for sharing the benefits of AI. What about the fears and dangers of runaway AI? Because it can mimic anybody and it can create practically anything, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse every year. I read an article in Science magazine that it could even start a war between countries.
That reminds me, we'll get to the question, reminds me of that movie. What was the movie in 1984 with Matthew Broderick?
Yeah.
What was it? War Games, right? Actually, that was the premise of War Games, remember? In 1984 was the computers, they're all freaking out. So anyways, the question to you guys, and the question you guys didn't know here is, what about and we had gotten ready for this question. It comes up every panel that I'm aware of comes up with a question of what about the side of that? And it's a very great question. So, Roberto, you got the mic, you're
so
up.
first I'd like to address the whole 40 million to 20 million. I would ask that owner, just, when you do public speaking, always answer the question you want to be asked, not the question they ask you. So how did she get to 40 million? I guarantee she used Google search. I guarantee she used Google page. So it's fine to get to 40 million, but then when the algorithm changes, now we're mad at the system. You see what I'm saying? Like it's part of the same coin. And I was just having a conversation with Thomas from Nevada, commercial real estate guy, and I was telling him the system is changing based on consumer habits, not a whim of, this Wizard of Oz, the wizard just deciding nilly-willy why the system's going to change. It's changing because of consumer habits. The mobile device that we have today changed the way the algorithm works, the search engine works, because we're now mobile first. 80% of all your searches start in mobile. First thing you guys did is not hug your loved ones, as we like to believe. We reached for that phone and we saw who texted us, right? Who called us. So it's adapting to what you all are doing. So that's the first piece. The second piece is I'm with you. This is why I'm talking about advocacy. Like really, the reason I want y'all to understand is that you need to have a voice, but to have a voice, you have to understand the challenges that you're facing. And part of those challenges is that we need to unite together and understand how we leverage these solutions and leverage those solutions to be able to speak to them informed, so that when we talk to congressional members, state legislators, and senators, we're able to communicate our fears and trepidations. Now, the last thing I would say is, I think there was a statistic thrown around about the fear of AI. And what I will tell you is in 2023, there was a study that was conducted about that specific fear. And really what I will tell you guys is that you're not in competition with AI, you're in competition with businesses who are leveraging AI. And 83% of businesses who started leveraging AI saw a positive impact in their bottom line. Now, you might not like that, but I'm telling you, it's happening, and it's happening fast. So let's get aware, let's mobilize, let's have a position on how we voice our fears and our trepidations, so that when we talk to our congressional members and we go to Capitol Hill, Sacramento, whatever, we're able to communicate why we want some guardrails and some ethical components to the way these tools are being rolled out.
Yeah, well said. And Shekhar, before you go, and Shekhar was going to finish up with this, but to your question, right, there are a couple things going on. Number one, Roberto, you brought up some really good points, right? At this point, we're almost everybody's adopting it. It's a speed race of like how. There's just levels, right? There's levels. One is the productivity gain. Two is the technology build, right? 5 minutes, thank you. Technology build, meaning your Googles, your Geminis, right? So put that in a different bucket, okay? Over here's our productivity, which is what we're talking about here. How do we leverage it? And then the third thing is, how do I leverage it safely? That's what Gus just brought up. How do I, because we're not going to not leverage it. Let's be very clear. That ain't happening. We can all agree on that, right, Shekhar?
Yeah.
So now it's just a matter of how do we leverage it safely, security? What can we do?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a personal story, Gus, and you may be able to relate to this more, because I lived it. So I got a call in 2005. I just started barely working, and from my mom. And she said, like, my dad is in a vegetative state. He got stroke, 3 of them continuously. And 88% of his brain was damaged. So when I reached India, I couldn't recognize him. I had $50,000 in my pocket because I just started working. And we had him in a very good hospital. Every day it costed me $3,000. In 15 days, the money was over. And then I had to move him to a government-run hospital. Every day the doctor would come and ask me, when can you vacate the bed? For 13 days, I couldn't take a decision whether my father should be alive or not. On the 14th day, I did, because I couldn't afford it and I didn't want him to live in pain. If you let an AI system take that decision, and would you in the first place, it would actually probably take a decision in 0.3 seconds. 0.3 seconds. That's the risk if it's going unchecked. So I want to leave that thought with you. And to address the question, there are only 13 million small businesses in the United States, but there are 330 million people in the United States. Small businesses is not equal to everyone in the country. So we have to be deeply human and think about the 330 million people and 8 billion people in the world. Okay?
It was well said, you guys. Thank you so much.
And before I go, I just want to be very clear. I do not represent Google or Google's opinion. I just want to put it out there. These are my own thoughts, and these are my own position.
So when you have a divided society, how could you align on anything? We need to have a common framework of what is right and what is wrong. That's the whole point. That's exactly it. And we are not trying to be argumentative here on this panel. I'm just expressing a different point of view than my friend. I agree with some of the things he said, but I also disagree with some of the things. And that makes the society. Right? That's healthy. That's healthy, you guys. Thank you. And so with that, I would like to thank our panelists for hanging out here, and I would like to welcome back to Joseph. Joseph, thank you for the time, you guys. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that panel.
Thank you so much to our speakers, Shekhar and Roberto. You know, a couple of overview, just to recap. AI integration with your day-to-day life and work. Rapid change. Understanding the pain point, involvement, and identify. Leveraging solutions, mobile devices, the app. And for me, my aha moment in this workshop was competition with businesses leveraging AI. That was the one right there. So if you are not on board, sort of like you will be left behind in a way. So that's why, once again, competition with businesses leveraging AI. So I would leave you with that. We will be back in this room at 12:55. We have a very exciting workshop. Welcome to Franchise from Afar, how Filipino Americans are building businesses back home. With that being said, we will see you back at 12:55. Thank you very much, and enjoy the lunch and enjoy the workshop.